So this is our functional requirements that we need to create it. So basically client is expecting two kind of application. One is very simple application where they can maintain the customer information, like for example create the customer, read, update and delete. Those functionality should be available. It's kind of a master data maintenance. And second application is something it's about creating orders and items and all those stuff. So basically it's going to be the main application for them. So and it again it's going to have a lot of features what they want. Okay, so that is what we are going to see this in depth. Okay, and basically there are few functional things we need to cover, like for example the order user should be able to filter using customer and order status. Okay, so basically the order app should have the filters where they can filter out with the customer and also the order status. Okay, and should able to create, update and delete the orders and order items, so especially from the UI. Then customer assignment should be done at the time of the order creation and cannot be updated later. Basically, once at the time of creation, if we give the customer details, right? So for the particular order, it should not be changed later. Okay. Then should not create more than 5 items. So for each order, we need to limit it to the 5 items. Okay. Order amount should be determined automatically according to them. So let's say if there are two items, order items, and it has a amount of like total of 200. So your order header amount should be updated automatically based on the items amount. Okay, should able to complete or cancel the order. Basically, either we can complete the order or we can cancel the order. So if you are completing order, our order status should be updated accordingly. If you are canceling the order, especially we need to enter the comments, otherwise it will rise under error. Okay, additionally, like if either completed or cancelled, then we need to limit the order item CRUD operations, like create, update, delete, because once it is completed or cancelled, users should not able to create further items or delete further items. Okay, for the particular order. Finally, like for this draft, we need to enable for the order application, so which will improve the user experience. Okay, so completely we are going to use a RAP framework here. Okay, and so there is a just showing the data model. How does it look like? So this is our customer data model, right? So customer ID will be there, which is going to be the UID, and name, city, country, and email. Okay, so and it will be linked to this orders. Then we have order header and order items, which is going to be one business object. Okay, and this is going to be a separate business object. Basically, this will be a separate application, and this two combined will be another application that's called the order app. Okay, so here we have a few fields and few of the columns for that we'll see it in a few minutes. And especially for the order status, we need to maintain this status particularly, and we don't want to user to enter the random statuses by them. So we need to limit only the statuses. So coming to the development object, just think about it. We need a two application. Okay, customer app is going to be very simple application where you can create, update, delete. Whereas order app is going to be having a lot of features, as I mentioned earlier, right? So both the when we are thinking about in the app object, so we will be creating like first data model layer, database table, then on top of the interface views, then we create base or root view. Okay, that's where the business object we will be defining. Then on the top of the business object, then we will be creating the projection or conception view. Okay, then once it is done, for enable the OData service, like we will be using the service definition and service binding, where we define OData before and we enable our draft handling by default, right? So when we go with the default before, right? And so base behavior definitions and projection behavior definitions. So this will be for the modifying the data, right? So first I would like to try with customer app. with simple read-only report. Okay, then we switch to the some we will add some more additional CRUD operations functionality to customer app. Then we'll have a little improvisation. Okay, then afterwards we'll try to uh, create a come to the adder app with advanced features. So I would like to ask you to stick with at the end of the video, so it will be going to be so much learning for you. Okay, so I will be telling each and everything very slow, and I will try to explain as much as possible what I have in my mind. So it's gonna be a very long video. Just stick to it. Definitely, it is going to be add much values in your profile. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay, let's try to create a customer app first. So I will like to start with the database table. So this is our data model for the customer. So I'm just going into the Eclipse IDE. So make sure you have about trial versions, okay, and you just create a separate package for this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a database table for this. I create a separate package here. So I'll just put the database table, or it is, yeah, here under dictionary you will be able to find the database table. So let's give a customer table. I'm not sure whether it will allow. Might be the name already exists. Let's see. Yeah, as we expected, the name is already there. Let's we put something like this underscore t, which reference the it's a database table. Okay, cool. It's there. I'm just providing that here. So it is taking some time. Yeah, it got it now. Okay, hope the source code is visible to you. So basically, like we are going to create some kind of master table. Okay, so maybe you just want to now change the delivery class here. So basically, this is for the application table or master tables, and this is for the customizing tables. So most we prefer always this any one of them. Okay, for master table also we refer A only. For transaction table also we refer A only. So I think we don't need to change it anything here. So that's fine. And so here by default you will get the client field. Okay, that's you we can keep this, not a problem. So I'm just going to add the unique key for my table along with this client. So maybe I can put it like customer UUID. So let's put this way like this. So I'm just going to use UUID. Okay, it's not suggesting one. It's a second. Let me find UUID. Yeah, so I'm going with this. Okay, then what is the next one? Just I'm going back to the data model. So we have a name, city, country, email. Okay, 30 30 20 40. Let's keep it like this. So name, we have, it's going to be your customer name. Okay, so I'm just putting Akkar 30 for this. Okay, let's put the country for now. Just going back. City, country, email. Okay, I think we can use country directly the data element. I think we can use that. So let's put 20 for this. Okay, 3. So let's leave this. When we can, I don't want to use the simple data type here. I want to refer the existing country data type. Okay, so what I'm doing today is I'm just trying to search for the country. There is I underscore country. I'm just looking for country interface view. So maybe I can navigate to the database table and look for the data element. Okay, it's basically a T005 table. Cool. So we are just taking this land one. Okay, and just copy this, close this. Yeah. So I'll just put this as a land one. Okay. Then email we are having, right? So about dot, so character, I just put something like 40. Okay. So this is enough, but additionally we might be required for the admin fields. But let me just log in with this. I'll try to activate it. Good. So I'll just go back to my data model. So see here we don't have any admin fields, but I would suggest, if whenever you're creating a database table, application table, or master table, you better have these these admin fields, or whatever you say, created at law change by law change, right? So it will help to identify when this data when this record has been created, when that record has been updated. So of course we need a draft when we are creating the draft enablement. Then definitely we need to refer the what is the law change time for the record, but basically we need to give a timestamp for that. So I would recommend first, whenever you're creating a database table, just try to have this these four fields uh, uh, with you, I mean with the database tables. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm going to use it for multiple tables like order and order items, even I'm going to use it for my customer table, I'm just going to create a structure for this separately, and I can reuse in my table, right? So instead of creating everything instead of specifying all these admin fields in all the tables, I'm just going to create a structure for this. So this is my structure. So we order underscore admin data, something like this. Okay, so there are four fields: created by, created at, law changed by, changed at. Okay, so the created by, law changed by, it's going to be the user who has modifying the data or created data, updated data. Created at, changed it, which is going to be the timestamp when the particular record has been updated or created. Okay, so I'll just create like this: created by. So let me just do like this: created by, what is the data element? ABAP underscore, wait, okay, ABAP underscore. So let me creation user, right? Yeah. So changed by ABAP underscore CBP. So changed by, okay, there is some other name with this, last change by. Okay, let me put other last here. So last changed user, right? Yeah, here. So created by, law changed by, then we'll put the timestamp created at. So here we check create date. You can provide time period, but I'm just going with the timestamp which contains both date and time along with the seconds. Then changed at ABP last. Yeah, this one. So perfect. Yeah, let me activate this. Okay, I copy this. I'm just going to include here. Okay, include in this table. So before that, before I try to include, I'll just show you the records, but right now we don't have any records, right? So if I just run this, wait a second, oh, it is getting activated. Okay, so you are having only 1, 2, 3, 5 columns, right? So 5 columns which we needed for the customer app. So I'm just going to include it. So include, I'm just going to mention this. That's it. So I'll activate now. Okay, let me show it now. What are the columns we have? So you are, if we, as we included, we having this admin fields like create a bill or change by page, change it. Okay, with this customer app. So it looks fine, and what we are going to do next is we'll try to create a iView on top of that. So basically, I'll tell you why we have to create a iView, why we cannot directly create a business object on database tables. I will tell you in a minute. But yeah, well, let's try to create a iView on top of that. Okay, so we have this database, customer database tables, and we don't have any data right now with this. We haven't created any data, right? So we plan to create an interface view. So before that, why do we need an interface view? Why can't we directly create a business object view? That's the word of the root entity, right? So the reason is this interface view will be reusable in other components. So basically, you that in a ABAP cloud development best practices, you cannot directly consume the database table. Okay, so if you just check any standard table, right, and if you're in a ABAP cloud system, it will not allow you to write a select query on a direct database tables, like for example ABAP. So you cannot directly write a select query. Instead, you would there is a dedicated interface view for the ABAP table, and you will have to use the interface view for that. Okay. Same way, if you are creating any application, you follow the same best practices. You should not, write a select query directly to this G customer table. Okay. Instead, you need to call the interface view, and this interface view will provide all the data. Okay. So that's the reason we need to create interface view, which will be accessed globally to all other components. Or if you write a custom program, you can use it there. So the point is, do not directly fetch data from the customer table, right? I mean the database table. Okay, so how do we create a interface view? Just click the select this customer table, do the right click. So here you will have this new data definition, right? So just click on this, just use ZI. So I refers the interface view. Okay, I just put something like customer. I'm not sure whether this name is also exists, but let me give it a try. Interface view. So this is for customer. Click on next. Okay, it's already exists. So yeah, this is a trial system. Of course, a lot of people have created this. So I'll just put something like what else you can do. Okay, I don't want to think much. I'll just put something like customer data something. Okay, it's a bad naming convention, but I don't have any option. Okay, it's there. Cool. So when try to create a CDS views, if possible, if it is allowed, always try to create a view entities or root view entities or with parent association, these things. Don't go for this, as it has mentioned already this absolute as of AS ABAP 7.57 version. So it's If your system is above this version, you all feel free to go with this view entities. There is a lot of improvements in terms of performance by the SAP team. So I always recommend go with this view entities if you are able to in the particular systems. You can omit this view define view definitions completely. Okay, so I'm just going with the define view entity for now. So clicking on finish, it's taking little time. Okay, so we got it. So fine, yeah. So these are the template that has been given completely to you. So you don't need to add any annotation specifically. Okay, so I'll do this formatting for now to make it little beautiful view. Okay, I got it. So you will able to see the key customer IDs and names, city, country, everything is there, and you were created by create launches by everything's here. Of course, and if you just try to run this, it won't have any data, right? Okay, I will have to activate this first. Okay, right click and ABAP application. Yes, of course, it won't have any data. So I'm just so from the CDS views, you can have able to see the data preview as well. So fine. So we created the interface view. So anywhere, if you want to use select the data, we can be able to get this. Get the data via this ZI customer data instead of Z customer underscore T table. Okay, so that's a point. Okay. So going okay. Next thing we'll try to create a business object. So basically this interface view, it's not a business object, it's not will come under the business object. Okay, so first of all, the business object is nothing but it just have clubbing of multiple entities. For example, in our case the order and order items, it's together it's forming a compositional relationship, and this compositional relationship is something is called very tightly coupled, and this is called as one business object. This two together called as one business object. So likewise, business object is if you it will always refer the real time use cases. So you can consider the sales order items. So all those will be one business object. So whenever we create a wrap application, we need to define what is our business object. Okay, so in our case we are having only the customer data model. So going forward I will use the word entity, so that's the correct word. So the customer entity is going to be the single entity for our applications. So what we but in our business object it's going to be only one, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm creating another data definition on top of this. So I'll just do this Z. I'll define this as a Z. R means restricted reuse view. So restricted reuse view, for example, here we'll remove this customer. Okay. So restricted reuse view will be only consumed internally for the software component. If it is for the specifically for this project, you need to include only in this R view in the particular project. You cannot whereas the interface view can be consumed all over globally for any kind of, if you're using if you're creating a different project, you can use the interface view to get the customer data. So that is for the that's why we have created the interface view. So yeah, we trying to create the business object. When we are trying to create the R view, then we enter into the business object world. So here there is a two things. When we when we try to create a business object CDS views, you will have only two options. Either you have to create a root view entity, because every business object have definitely one root entity, okay, and it can have multiple child entities, okay. So as the customer is a single entity, I'm going to define this as a root entity. Otherwise, if it has some child items and I'm going to create a R view for that, then I need to choose this define view entity with parent association. Basically, we need to provide a tightly coupled relationship, so that it will form a business object. And and remember one thing, like in graph we work with business objects, not like the association concept or loosely coupled things. We cannot form as a business object, and we can't create an app application there. So yeah, when you try to create a R view or C view or anything, you try to use this, any one of them. Don't try to create define view entity, there will tries and errors, okay. So for now, customer is a single entity, I'm going with root view entity. Okay, so when we define the root view entities, it tells the the corresponding composition of relation. When I say composition, it refers the child entities. Okay, as we don't have any child entities, I'm going to remove this completely. Okay, and we as we are removing the association, I'm just removing this as well. Okay, yeah, I'll remove this comma. So right click, source code, format. Okay, so it looks fine. We define the root view entities, and we are selecting from the interface view. Okay, I'll activate this. So this is our starting point of business object. On top of this, we will be creating a behavior definition. So that is going to be our base behavior definition. All right. So that will do it later. So for now, I'm just going to show you how to define the read-only application. Then we'll try to add some some transactional capability like create, update, delete, all those stuff. Okay. So yeah, this is done, and what on top of that, I'm just going to create a conception view, or we can call it as a projection view. Okay, so I'll just define it like this: customer data. So I'll just put something like projection view, customer data. Okay, I'll just click on next. So here, if you try to create a projection view, you choose the second option, projection view, define projection view. Okay, just click on finish. Okay, cool. So it has been done, and so it's by default it says rising on error space. We are wasting the root entity. Why? Because we our our view is defined as a root entity, so we have to define this as a root entity as well. Okay, so I'll just quickly format this. And also we are having some warnings, so let's try to fix this. Let it activate first. Okay, so if I see this, it says transactional provided contract expected for the projection view. So it's nothing, you just need to tell what you are going to do with this projection view. So basically I'm just going to create a transactional application, which is nothing but our customer app. So I need to provide the corresponding transactional, okay, provided contract. It's a provided contract. So there are a few things. If you want to try to create an analytical query or SQL query, you can provide this. So the transactional interface is for extensibility. So as we are going to use only the simple list report page applications, I'm just going with transaction query. Okay, this if you are creating a transactional application, you can use this. So just activate. Okay, perfect. It has activated. So you could see there are three kind of views. This is the way you need to create a CDS views in your project. This is the best practices to follow. First, you create on top of this database table. You create a interface view. This interface view will be called globally. Then you try to create a R view. This R view is going to talk with the behavior definition. So on top of this R view, we will be creating a behavior definition that's called base behavior definition. And there is a final view which is going to be talked with your client. Maybe it could be your UI or it could be in different system. So right. So in our case, it's going to be the UI. As UI, it will directly talk to this C view, right? And this R view is for base behavior definition, and the C view, on top of this C view as well, we create a projection behavior definition. So we will see this in upcoming upcoming videos. But I just want to just setting up the context. This is a three layer you need to define your CDS views, which will be help in your projects in many cases. Okay, you cannot have anything dumped in one or two views. So yeah, so for maintainability, please follow this best practices. All right. So next, we will see how to create a services on top of this and how we can expose the data. Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, guys. I hope you have understood what is the radius view layers, what is interface views, what is restricted reuse views, and consumption view, right? So let's get expose this data to the UI. So in order to do that, we need to create services for this. So in RAP, if we want to create a services, then we need to first create a service definitions. So which basically tell the service what are the entities we need to expose in it. Then on top of that definition, we need to create a binding. So this binding will have many types of that. So specifically, as your use case is to create a OData v4, right? v4 we are going to use the UI, right? So I'll just show it in a minute. So first I'll try to do the right click on this, and there is a thing called new service definition, right? So just go for it. Just use something like, as we are creating the UI application directly, I just put it like this. You know so customer service definition, something like this. Okay, so service definition, so customer UI. Perfect. So just click on next, and click on next. So there's only one option. Just click on finish. Okay, so you got something like this: define service, service definition name, and what are the entities you are going to expose. As of now, we are having only one consumption view that we need to expose to the UI. Okay, so if you have multiple items, table items, or consumption views, and other related to consumption view, if you want to expose, you can expose it here. So basically, the point is, to the service definition, we should expose only the consumption view, not R view, not I view, not directly the database table. So make sure, right? So always this consumption view will be exposed to the outside world. Okay, then that is the best practice, and for some security reasons as well. So yeah, just stick with this. Always expose only the consumption view. That's why the consumption view is always talk with the UI or other systems, right? So I'm just going to activate this. Okay, so it's getting activated now. Okay, done. So as I mentioned earlier, we need to create a service binding, new service binding. Just on top of the service definition, just click the new service binding. So you can provide again GUI underscore customer. So here service binding, what is I'm just going to use OData v4, okay, and I'm just going to use this as a UI app, right? So yeah, just so based on the requirement we can create a service, we can define the service binding, okay. So customer service binding, okay, cool, yeah. So here there is a mandatory thing called binding type. Just select this binding type. So there are many types out there. So you, for now, you just leave this first and last thing, okay. So but if you see, we are able to define, OData v2 version or OData v4 version. So if you are creating new application, if possible, try to go with always the OData v4, which is the latest version, of course, and you will get lot of additional features comparing to the OData v2, and it has some performance improvements comparing to the OData v2. Okay, so mostly it will be similar, looks like similar, but in OData v4 we were able to do a lot of things. Okay, so I would suggest go with OData v4, and as I'm going to create a UI app using Fiori elements, I'm just selecting this. If you don't go with UI application, you are just creating plain API which is going to talk with some other systems, then you can use the web API, right? So I'm just going with OData v4 UI. Just click on next and click on finish. Okay, so once that is done, you will see the service binding screen like this. You can see the binding type here. Here, what are the services you have exposed in the service binding. So just quickly activating this. And there is a, once you activate it, you will see publish local service endpoint. So this local service endpoint is something for the developers to test the the API that he or she has created, okay. So this is not for a predictive version, or this is not going to work it for like for functional guys or business to test it. So this will be available in development systems, so you can quickly test this service, a local service, enable this local service endpoint, and you can test it locally, right? So what are the things you have created, whether it is working fine or not, or it will be helpful for debugging purpose. So you're not need to create any UI or UI screens for this, like usually it's before deployment, we just quickly, if we want to test something, we can test it. So once that is done, you can consume this API in BAS, right? Or in case like web ID is already absolute, but I always try to use BAS for the UI, UI5 configurations, or consumption. So there you consume the service that we have created, and if you want to add additional UI logic, you can add it, or else you can simply deploy it back to this backend, right? So that's a process we need to follow. But this public local service endpoint will be published local and local service endpoint. It's specifically for the developer testing. So yeah, so this will take little amount of time. So just just wait for this to finish. So once it is finished, then we can open this in a browser, and we can see how the app look like, right? So it's still taking time. Okay, meanwhile, what I do is I'll just try to create a, let it do this uh, activation job. So meanwhile, we'll go back to the conception view. Okay, then we'll create a metadata file. So the metadata extension file, which helps to keep our UI related annotations. So these annotations will dynamically create the Fiori element pages accordingly in the UI. Okay, so we don't need to write anything in the UI annotation logic. So for that, from the backend itself, we can define the annotations for each and every column, like how my where my column should be placed, and how my list page should be displayed, and what are the columns should I define for this. Like those UI related stuff we can define it in the metadata extension file. So I'm just, so make sure you are providing the same name like your conception view. Okay, so I'll just quickly create this metadata extension file. Just create a customer data, customer UI. Okay, so let me create this. Click on next. And click on finish. Okay, so we would see this template, right? So always you use core. Okay, so there are a lot of metadata layer, but always use the core when you are trying to create a metadata extension. And here the element name, what are the elements you want to write annotation, UI annotation for, right? So just I'm just try to insert all the elements for now. So at least each element should have the 1 second. So there is an issue before that. There was an error showing up. Okay, it says like allow metadata dot allow annotation metadata dot allow extension missing in the customer data. So this is because in the projection CDS view we doesn't allow the metadata extension file. So that needs to be that needs to be set up first. So metadata allow extension to, I'll activate this. So once it is activated, that error goes off, I hope. Okay, if I just do this syntax check, yeah. So let me put only the customer ID in the UI for now. So I'll just give something like UI dot, so maybe end user dot. So this will tell the, in the UI we have a column name, right? So we can define the column customer ID, something like this. So I'll activate this. Okay, so if I just go back, I could see the publish service endpoint is done. So let me quickly activate this, and you could see all the entity sets here, right? So my entity set is GC customer data, and that was exposed in the service binding. So whatever you are doing it, exposing it here, that will be available in this entity set. So quickly I'll just just give a good, I will suggest a new name for this. So customer, okay, activated. So once I have done, because I'm just defining an alias name for the for the customer date, for the the entity, right? Projection view. So here you just do the right click and refresh. Yeah, it has been changed here. So you can quickly test it, like for example just select this and click on this preview option. If you click on this preview option, it will open the application in a new tab, okay, in your browser. Okay, so make sure you have logged in with this BTP environment, so that this app will open directly. So it's loading now. Okay, so we have this, and as you could see, there is nothing was shown up here. right? So if I just try to click on go, it will nothing is. But what else you can do is you can just click on this one and click on OK, and you can just do this go button. But yeah, as we don't have anything right now, and it doesn't show up, right? That's the expected thing. So and one thing, if you notice here, right, the customer ID, okay, customer ID, I think it's the name is was the issue. If I just go back to the metadata actions file, yeah, so the name was the issue. So customer ID, I have defined it only one column in here. I just defined the label, okay, nothing else. I haven't given this column should be enabled or not. So we will define each and every column whatever we need in the list page, okay, in a minute. But I just want to show you like this is how you can test it locally for your applications. Later, if you feel good, then you can consume it in the past and you can deploy it to the either in your backend systems or in a BDP system. So yeah, just wanted to show this. So I'll just quickly refresh this, just checking whether my the customer ID column name has been updated or not. I'm not sure, this is taking too long. Yeah, it came now. I'll just take this, and yeah, if we could see here, yeah, it has been updated correctly, right? So okay, okay, let's see how we can set up each and every columns however we like, and we can create the second page as well for all the columns. So we will do it in a minute, okay? So yeah, just make sure just create the service definition, service binding, expose the data. Then we will mostly work on this metadata extension file by providing the UI and UI related annotations. All right, yeah. Let us design the UI application for customer app. Okay, so far we don't expose any columns, right? And if I just go back to the service binding and if I try to presume it, I have already that. So it just there are no columns, no visible columns in the table right now, right? So it says like please select the columns you need in the table settings. So every time we cannot, user cannot select all the columns here. So instead we need to keep this column as a, I want these columns in these places. Everything we need to annotate it in this in the metadata file so that it will appear even in the UI. Okay. So this metadata file, I'm just going here right now. We just we have just added the text for the customer UID. So let me add few couple of columns. So in the first page, I just want to see name, right? So yeah, of course the name. I just want to see the customer name. Okay, then I just want to see the city of the customer, then country. Okay, or else let's remove this city and I'll just put country and email for now. Okay, so we need to define at least one annotation for this. So I'll add, maybe this is the best practices, you need to add end user text out label for all of your columns, okay, which you want to add annotations. That's the first annotation you need to add. So it will be very helpful for the custom description column name, or table of the columns name. So it will populate automatically. So I'll just put it like something like customer name and end user dot text dot label. So country, and finally we have email, right? Email ID, something like this. Okay. So next thing, I just want to see in the first page. I mean, in this list, this is called the list page. In this list page, I just want to see 3 columns. Okay. Let's design this. What are the columns? Name, country, and email. So I will do this annotations UI dot line item. Okay. Here, I just need to define the column position, right? So I just want to define the column position. So there is a attribute called position here. You just need to put as 10. Okay, so you can go with 1 2 3 or anything, but the what are the best practices you need to follow with addition of 10. Okay, so if I'm just my first column should be name, so I just keep this position as a 10. If I just define your next column as a country, then I need to define this as a 20, and email is goes to third column, so I define this as a 30. So let me activate this. So once it get activated, just go back and reload this. Yeah, you could see customer name, country, email ID. Okay, so if in case I just want this email ID should be a second column, so I can just interchange this position easily. I don't need to change the column names or position here. Just reloading this. Okay, yeah, so it came as a second column, right? So yeah, it looks fine. And as if I just click on go, I of course I won't have any data, so we will be creating in a few minutes. But before that, I just want to show this is my so when you define something as a line item, it will goes to your list report page. Okay, so what if I want to identification, there is something called identification annotation which will help to place your columns everything in the second page. So second page, like for example, consider if I have some few entries, and if I click that entries, it will take you to the next page, and where your detailed list of the customer will be displayed. Okay, that's called as a detail page. But let's just first create few entries for this, or in order to show the data. So I'll just quickly go back to this. So there is a two ways you can, there's a multiple ways, but basically there are two ways you can upload the data, or maybe you can provide your mock data in the backend side. So you can directly put this data with the some kind of program you need to create it, and you can update your data to your database table. That's one of the way. The second approach is like you need to enable the CRUD operations, create, update, delete operations for the your customer application. So then you can easily create a data with that. So uh, as we are learning wrap here, I would like to show the second approach, which would even helpful for you to create the data easily, and you will identify how the RAP framework is managed approach is helpful for creating this transactional capabilities very quickly, right? So yeah, I'm just not going to create mock data using directly to the database table, as I don't want to deal with database table directly. So what I'm going to do is I just go back to this my CDS view, right? The root CDS view called restricted reuse view. Here, I'm just going to create a new object called behavior definitions. Okay, so far we have seen only the read-only data, right? So it just gives you the data. Of course, it does not have any data right now. It doesn't show anything. So in order to create the data, I'm just going to use a behavior definition for that. So I'll right click on this. There is something called new behavior definition. Just click on this. So by default, it will take your or view name, so you cannot even if you see there, I'm not able to say change this as well. So just I'm changing the description. I'm just mentioning behavior definition for the customer entity. Okay, so and the root entity is of course its root entity, which is refers the current CDS view. Okay, restricted CDS view. There are two implementation type. One is managed and another is unmanaged. Okay, you can able to choose between these two, but as my current object does not require an unmanaged scenario, so this is a fresh application, it's a greenfield implementation, I would like to go with managed. However, if you have the logic for database update or create all those application logics available in forms of function model or classes. So I would suggest go with unmanaged so that you can use the behavior definition as a wrapper for your existing logic. So there are two kind of different kind of way we can create the application. As mine is purely fresh applications, I would like to go with managed. With the managed, I would get lot of features which will be handled by the framework. For example, create, update, delete. I don't need to write any logic. So by default, the wrap provides you this transaction capability automated in their framework itself. So we just need to define which database table we need to has to be stored, and it will take care of everything. So as you could see, these are the so this is the behavior definition for our customer CDS view, right? So the behavior definition, as I mentioned, it's the same name. You can define area's name as well. It's not a problem. So I just define like customer, all right. And you could see here the persistent table. The persistent table is what our database table, right? So whatever the data it has to, whatever the data we create, update, delete, we need to tell the framework which database table you need to use it. So this is very important for the managed implementation. Okay, but in the case of unmanaged, it's a different story, because you know very well about the database table and you have the logic for that. You don't let framework has to handle this. So that time, like, that's a totally a different scenario, right? So in this managed implementation, you really need to maintain the correct persistent table. For this, there are a few warnings. We will fix it up, and you need to define the lock master. Lock master in the sense you are providing the locking capability for the data updation, creation, right? If it tries to update some data, it will first lock the table and it will update the data, then it will release the lock later once it gets updated. This everything will be framework will be taken care. And authorization master instance, right? So this will define a provide your hooks methods where you can define if where can I check whether user has access for the create authorization or update authorization, delete authorization, those stuff. Okay. And e tag master, so we are not saying it right now, let's keep it as uncommented, right? And so there are few things which has been enabled, right? Create, update, delete, right? And there is a in 13 number, you could see the field read only. Okay, I'm just setting this, framework by default is setting this customer UID. All the key fields will be the read only until it is a specific scenario. Okay, so and we have a class behavior implementation class for this. If you want, you can change this class as well, like for example CL customer code, something like this. I can use it, just activate this. So it's get activated. So once it is get activated, there is a very good features in the ADT called the quick fix, which will help you to create the classes, or all other assistants will be there for you. For example, in my case, I just want to create a behavior bus. Otherwise, I need to create a new class, from the pop-up, right? So this will create me the behavior implementation class automatically. So I click on next. Cool, I got it. So by default, it is taking you to this local types, as you see, right? So because in RAP, implementation, this is called the behavior implementation class. Always we use local types. We don't touch anything in the global class level. Okay, if you want to go to the global class, you can just click on this and you can see what is the defined in the global class. There was nothing defined. Even it is not even as a developer, we don't need to touch this global class at all. It's not even required. Okay, so everything we are just uh, what is it hiding it in the local type, so that anyone from any other developers cannot able to directly call this methods. For example, there is a method specifically for get instance authorization, which is coming because of the enabling the load authorization master instance, right? So this will not be called outside of this class. Okay, so some kind of a encapsulation they have made it inbuilt for the wrap behavior implementation class. So you might have a question, how do we, if I want to call certain like action or something, so that the only way we can do this, it's with the help of behavior definition. Okay, so there is a specific way we can do this with the behavior definitions. I will tell you in a minute, but just to setting up the context, you just need to define this behavior definitions, and you just expose, create, update, delete, which means like all this instance of the customer data can be creatable, updatable, and deletable. And you are setting the field read only, the key field read only, right? By default you are setting it. Additionally, like we have created the our behavior implementation class. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you one thing. As we are going to create it, we are not going to some of few pills we are not able to, we won't like to get the input from the UI, right? Or maybe from the user. For example, this customer UID, this customer UID is going to be the some kind of a UID, right? It has to be generated internally. Okay, it has not be generated by user. Yeah, we can get the data from name of the customer, city, country, email, everything we can get it. But for few columns like customer ID and for additionally like this admin data. So this admin data, customer won't like to provide data that, right? So this should be somehow we need to automate. Okay, either we can derive it from our end, we can generate it by ourselves, but there is a additional option we can use it, we can automate, where we tell the framework framework has to be taken care of it. Okay, so how do we do it, right? So one thing is just mentioning the customer UID. So go to your behavior definition. Here you need to mention, simply you just need to add the numbering. There is a concept called numbering. Okay, so here you just tell the managed numbering concept. Okay, so read only. So there is a concept called numbering manage, which means we are telling whenever we say manage, it's a framework will be taken care of it, right? So when we define this, okay, our key field will be generated automatically. Okay, so I'll just simply activate this. So we don't need any specific implementation for this to populate the UUID field. Okay, so I'll just go back to this again. Customer, right? So this customer table, we still have this order admin data. So this order admin data has few fields like created by, created as, log changed by, log changed at, right? So these are the values we need to again provide it. Okay, either manually or we can tell the framework to do this as well. So in order to tell the framework to do handle this, you just go back to your R view, right? So this R view, you have to define the corresponding columns with the annotation, specific annotation. So for example, if I just go here, I don't remember the annotation. Let me check that quickly. Okay, I think it's with the semantic, I hope. So it's semantics dot created by, right? So let me, Okay, I think this is what. So system date time created it. Okay, this is for created it, but of course we can copy this and we can put it here. So for created it, this is the semantic, this is the annotation which tells to framework create the created timestamp automatically. Likewise, for created by, we have the law change rate, local law change rate, right? Okay, this is system date time, right? Let me check if anything is there. Okay. User, yeah, user dot created by, okay, which tells which user has been created the particular record. Likewise, we have user dot lost changed by true, which is for this particular column, and similarly changed it, we just use the same thing here. So change it, lost changed it. Okay, let's keep like this. Okay, so source code, I'll just simply format this and activate. So yeah, this annotation should be placed in the base behavior, sorry, base CDS views. When I say base CDS views, it's a restricted CDS views. If you define it, the framework itself will be taken care of this 2 point. So one for unique key population, we just need to do this numbering managed, which will framework will take care of it. So make sure your data type is UUID. If you have some different character data type, it will not work. Okay, so for the created by admin fields populations, you can place this annotation in the R view. Okay, then framework will be take care of it. Okay, so let's see how we can input the data. So that like we can see the data in the UI. Okay, okay, let us upload some data to our database table. Okay, so I have already mentioned like you can directly push some data to this table as a with the insert statement, right? That is one of the option. Okay, so I'm going to show you the another option. This is straightforward. Okay, so I create a for this I create a ABAP class here, data upload, something like this. Okay, so I'll just keep this for data upload. Okay, so in this here I'm just going to take okay, just search for the interface logo ADT classroom. So there is a interface which by the SAP. If we use this, we can run our class as a console. So basically, for example, I'm just using just a second. It's already okay. A lot of people have created the same name, so I'll just put specifically for okay. Let's see. So why this this what is so special about this interface is uh, if you want to mock some data, or if you want to test something quickly, you can create a console class and you would able to see the output in the ADT console. Okay, so whatever you just try to show the try to put the output data, you can simply get the data here. Okay, so for example, this is our console class as we enable with this interface ADT class run. So we simply show some output directly in the console. For example, if I just put write, okay, then I just something like Muthu and try to activate this. So right now the console, it doesn't show any data. Okay, so once it is activated, what I have to do is just do the right click, and there is something called run as ABAP application console, or you can directly press F9. Okay, so if I do this, it will run, this class will get executed and you would be able to see the output directly here. Okay, so this will be very helpful for if we want to test something quickly, or if you want to mock upload the mock data to database tables, and a lot of other options as well, you could use it. So I mostly prefer for testing my behavior definitions that was created, and if I want to update some data there, mostly I use this. So yeah. So let what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upload some data to our database table. I don't want to directly push my data to directly to this database tables, okay, because that is not a very good practice. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my behavior definition. So whatever I want to do from here now, whatever transactional capability like create, update, delete, or any other thing, I can call this behavior definition and I can get the job done, right? So make sure always use you try to call the behavior definition if you want to do something, okay. This is not related to the UI part, but I'm just showing you for your information, right? Okay, so from the UI we can directly create, update, delete with the help of Fiori elements. But how do we do it within the server, I mean within the same system, okay, without any service. If you want to do it from the UI level, you need a OData service. You need to send a request, create request, and the data will be created in the database table. So you have to go via the OData service call, right? So I don't within this same server, I don't need to call anything with the OData server, right? So OData service I don't require at all. So this kind of a use case, you can use a specific KPI called EML, which is called entity manipulation language. This entity manipulation language will be having the different ABAP syntax, which is basically a new thing in RAP. So you would with this you can call your corresponding functions, behavior functions from the another program. Okay. For example, I just want to create a new customer data. Okay, there is a create already enabled here. So using this create request, I can using this EML I can raise a create request internally to create the data to this database table. That's what I'm going to do with console class. Okay, so I'm just going back to this console class. So for if you want to update some data, okay, so what EML you have to choose is it's a modify EML you have to need to choose it. So okay, I'm just here. So modify entities of your behavior definition name. So my behavior definition name is this one, okay, and your behavior definition could have multiple entities. Okay, when I say multiple entities, right now it has only one entity, that is for the customer. As this is a root entity, we call this, it's the same thing, but you could have multiple items as well. So you need to specify which entity you want to create it. So because it contains a multiple child items, right? So you have to define which entity you want to create the entry. So I want to create for the customer entity. So if I just go back and I can use a create request. So simple create request, right? So I just want to use with from value. Okay, I'm just going to use the value. So here I'm just going to pass only single record. I just want to only create only single record. Okay, single create is what I'm trying to do it. Okay, so one thing is I'll just have to, if you control space, you will have a lot of options here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to provide all the values. Instead, I'm just going to just simply without any data, I'm just going to create it. Maybe probably like I can pause the customer name alone. Okay, for example. So for the first entry, I'm just going to provide only the name. Okay, so for example, I just put customer one. Okay, and so if I'm just passing some column as a data, I need to just mention corresponding corresponding control structure. Actually, for example, in this control structure, whatever the columns we are having with the database table, so the same will be there. So you just need to pass something like this. Okay, so behavior. So this is standard interface. So here you will be having something called mk as a structure. Okay, so just use this to, there are two things, on and off. You just use the on field for enable this control type. Okay, if you don't pass this, then your name will be ignored. Okay, so make sure when you are trying to do it from the EML, you have to pass the data along with your control structure. Okay, and additionally you need to provide something like called CID. Okay, for if you try to create or if you try to update, you need to provide the CID key for this. I'll just tell you what is the CID later, but for now you just set the autofill CID, which will generate the framework will generate automatically the CID value for every record that we are sending, right? So create value, from value, then you just take the mapped one. So map data ls underscore map, and let's say if something got failed, okay, what we need to do is we just use reported and data. We can identify, because when we try to create the data, there might be some error might comes, right? So in order to handle this, you can use this two structures, reported and failed. There's some error, I'll check it out. What is this? So let's change this with width, I guess. Okay, so let me format, activate this. Okay, so this mapped will tell you, right? So whether the okay, basically this reported and failed is for error scenarios. This mapped is tell you, like as we are doing a create, it will provide you the new generated key field. Okay, as okay, we are not passing anything key fields, right? The key fields is going to be taken over by the numbering, but as we are calling the create request, so we should know what is the data that has been created back, right? So this information will be provided here. Okay, so I'm just going to trigger a request. Maybe I will show it in the debugging for now. Right click and refresh breakpoint, run as ABAP console. Okay, it's in the debugging mode now. So if we check it here, okay, if I check the ls underscore mapped, you can just double click on whatever the value you want to see. I don't know, it's a little bit slow. Okay, it came now. Yeah, so ls underscore reported. So right now the ls underscore reported, we has a structure. Okay, wait, I'll just show you the map first. So ls underscore mapped has only the customer table. Okay, this customer table, let's see what are the columns or will be there in the customer table. Okay, I don't want to see anything here. Yeah, you will have something called CID. Okay, and customer UID. This customer UID is what generated one. Okay, this CID either we can pause it, like right now I'm not pausing it, the CID. I just tell the framework that you have to autofill CID. Okay, so let's say if it is had created, you will successfully, you will have this one entry here, as we are sending only, as we are trying to create one customer entity, right? So I'll just do this F6. It was successful, and if I see the SLS map, I don't have anything. Okay, I'm not sure if there is some issue. Is there something failed here? Let's see. Failed is okay. Yeah, I think it was loaded very slow. I was able to see the one entry customer here. There is a one entry under this ls underscore mapped customer entity. So there is a CID which is generated by automatically, and the customer UUID, and this is the new UUID that has been generated for this customer data. Okay, so if I just try to execute completely, Okay, there is no console, I'm not doing it, I will clear it out. So I'll just simply come back here, I'll remove the break mark. If I just go back, ultimately I should be able to see the one entry here. Okay, I'll try to execute this data preview, and I don't see any entries. Why? Because I'm just trying to modify some data, right? I'm trying to raise a create request, but I'm not trigger the commit one. So in a wrap, okay, there are two things. So one is for transactional phase, another is for save sequence phase. So when I do this modify or read entity everything, which will be only executed in the transactional phase, okay, and the data will get stored in the transactional buffer. It will go till the transactional buffer, okay. But in order to push the data to the database layer, okay, we need to trigger the save sequence phase. So the save sequence phase will trigger only if you do the commit work. Okay, for example here, after this, so I'm just going to put commit statement. So basically, yeah, so if ls underscore map, if I find some successful case, let's say if it is not initial, okay, then I'm just going to do the commit work, commit entities of same gr underscore customer data behavior definition we need to mention. Okay, so there is some error, let's check it out. Okay, response is missing, we can just check the response as well. Response, okay, let me just put it as it's missing between entities and okay, I think it's here, response of. So here we can define whether it's a failed or not, or reported anything we can mention ls underscore commit failed. I'll just put this something like this, and reported data ls underscore commit reported. Okay, so make sure there is no space between this. Okay, let me just format and activate it. Okay, cool. So it's getting activated. Once it activated, I'll just I'll do the commit. Okay, then I will just show you the data that I was created in the database table. Okay, so let me run this ABAP console. Okay, I hope it should be executed. Maybe I'll just quickly check this. The data has been, sorry, run as ABAP application. Okay, yeah. So you could see here, okay. So we got one entry as a customer one, and we don't see the other data that was auto generated. For example, customer UID should not have the 000, and additionally the created by, last change by, created at charge instant, everything is on empty value here. So I don't see any right values here. So this could be because of, okay, I'll close this out. This could be because of the column mismatch. Okay, what I mean by column mismatch? So in customer table, okay, we have mentioned this is a customer UUID, right? But when we define the behavior definition, it's a different thing. It's a customer UUID. Okay. Likewise, you will have the created by, law changed by, created at, law changed at. Everything will be with a different name. So that is the reason, it tells in the clearly warning, gives a warning about this. There is a mapping needed required for this. Okay. For example, create T field customer UID of table does not have a mapping entity. Okay. So what I'm going to do, simply I'm just adding the mapping value for this. So mapping for, I'm just going to define a mapping for my database table. Okay. Can open and you can close it. So here I'm just going to look for a database table name. Okay, first I just have to provide the RView name. So in this RView specifically, I just going to put customer UUID and what is the corresponding column in the database table. So it's a customer underscore UUID. Then I just need to put for yeah, created by uncreated at. Okay. So what is the corresponding column in the DB level? Created at is this one, and here created at and created by. So I can type it easily instead of looking for the suggestions. Created by thing last changed by, then last underscore changed underscore by. So changed at, changed underscore at, right? So I'll quickly activate this. Okay, it's getting activated, right? So everything's done. Let's do a thing. Let's try to do it one more time. Just try to turn it our console class. So for now, I just want to check whether it is uploaded or not. So I'll just do one thing. Okay. So here, if ls underscore commit underscore failed is initial, or and ls underscore commit underscore reported is initial, then I'm just going to confirm it. There is no error and data should be updated. Okay. Data got generated, something like this. Got inserted. Okay. So if I want to, just look the UUID that was generated, maybe I can use this as well. Out, right? Okay. ls underscore mapped customer table. I'm just going to take the first entry. Okay. Then I'm just going to take the customer UUID from here. Come on. It is taking so long. Yeah. So which I could confirm that whether that is has been created or not, right? So I'll just redo it again. Okay, I'll do a right click and I just do the console. Okay, I got this value. Okay, I just got this value, data got inserted and it was successfully committed back, and the UID is also is that. Like I just go back and I just quickly run this ABAP application. I got my second entity, right? Sorry, second record, and this is my UUID. So here I don't get the name. Okay, that's again the mapping issue. I should have mentioned the name properly. Then created by law changed by created at law changed at, right? So everything comes everything comes correctly now, and we were able to see there are few issues. Let's try to resolve this. So why the name is not coming? Name should be properly mentioned. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, that could be, I'll just mention it everything. Name equal to name. It should have comes correctly. Country equal to country, and what else? City, right? City equal to city. Then what else is there? Email ID, right? Email equal to email. I hope it should be the right one. Name, city, country. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, it is activated. Let's quickly go back and run it again. Okay, I got another entry now, 3E1, end with 3E1. So let me just go back to this database table and do the refresh here. Yes, I just got the value now, customer 1, 3E1, and it's the same thing, created by law changed by, and created changed it. Okay, looks fine. So what the next thing, we'll try to try to create the record directly from the UI. Let's see how that works and what is the difference. But yeah, but if you, this is the pretty much how we use the EML API. So if you want to know clearly about EML, you can go through my YouTube playlist where I have mentioned like 4 videos about create, update, and delete clearly. So you will get an idea. So yeah, this is the one of the option we can try it out. So another way is we can do it from the UI. Let's see that in a minute. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we have learned how to create a entry using EML, right? So let's try to do it in the UI way. Um, I'm just going back to my behavior definition. So here all look good. We all looks good, and we have create, update, and delete. So we enable for our behavior definition. But if I just go back to the UI, as I try to reload this, and if I try to click on go, we could see there are two entries we have created, and one empty customer name was there, right? That is, there are total 3 entries in the database table, and it came correctly here. And additionally, I don't see any create or update button here to try creating a new instance. If I just go inside, so there is a no detailed page also has been shown. It's not designed right. We just designed only the customer name, email ID, and country. So let's try to invest some time on the UI end. Okay, then we'll try to go for the create, update, and delete options from the UI. Okay, so in order to do this, I need to go back to my metadata extension file. So this is my metadata extension file. So far we have just to use the line item UI annotation to display the table, to display the data in the list report page. Okay, so as a next thing, okay, I just want to add few more columns which has to be shown in the detail page as well. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do is I'll just add the remaining columns. So we have name, country, email. Let's add okay, let me put insert all elements so that I can remove the existing things. I think city is not here. Okay, email and is that okay, perfect. So let me add end user dot text label This is city, end user, this is for created by, and end user label for last changed by. End user, okay, come on, text dot label created at, okay, end user text dot label, so change right. Perfect, I have added this. Let me activate and we can see the design in the UI now. So I'll reload this. Okay, the design is same as it is earlier because I just added only the end user annotations. So let me quickly add a few things in the UI. For example, line items. So I don't want user to see the line items for the remaining columns. Uh, so if they want, they can specifically select some entry and navigate to the second page, and afterwards they can see the other column details, right? So what I'm going to do for that, it's like so I will add this here, UI dot identification. So this identifications will be very helpful, okay, for the second page population. So I'll just put 10. Okay, I just want to show the customer UID. Then I just want to show the name as well as a second column. Then third will be the country, fourth will be the email, and yeah, fifth will be the city, and created by will be the sixth one. This is seventh, this is eighth, and this is ninth one. Okay, so I'll activate this. Okay, just going back and reloading this. Okay, let me go inside. Okay, nothing here, and let me go here. Okay, I don't see anything. Fine, yeah. So let's go back and basically we tell the framework to show the identification position and all, but what additionally we need to tell it, what are the where at which facet we need to show it. Okay, so in list report object page we have a we can create multiple facets. Under this facet, like we can show the column name and value, corresponding column name and value. I'll just show you how to do that. So for example, if I just want to create a facet from the annotations, you will just put UI dot facet. Okay, then in this each structure we need to define the maybe like ID first of all, like what is this ID for, like for example here I should give some unique ID for the customer, right? And I can mention the label, so something like customer detail. Okay, then additionally I can define the type for it, so the type is going to be identification reference. Okay, so when I give this identification reference type, it's going to just refer whatever I have used identification annotation, right? This one and all the columns, right? So it will take on it and it will just show it in the particular ID customer facet, right? So okay, I'll just define the position as well. Position will similarly work like how do it for the line item and identification. It's for the first position, maybe the first facet. If you want to create multiple facet, you can position it accordingly, right? So I have done this, so I'll just activate this. I'm going back to the UI. Let's reload this. Okay, let's clicking on go, and if I just click on customer first one, yeah. See, this is called the facet. This is the customer detail, the label that we have given here. Okay, and when we define the type as identification reference, it's going to take each and every columns of the UI identification annotations, all the columns. If it is defined, then it will just show each column and value pair. Okay, so as we don't have any values for now, so it will not be there. If I just go back, maybe I can go to the second one. So here we have the customer ID. It shows the customer ID, and the created by, last change wise, even the created act as a timestamp. If you see it in the DB level, it's a different, but the framework itself will be uh, giving you a nice formatting for this timestamps. Okay, so that's the beauty with Fiori elements driven by the UI annotations actually, right? So okay, I think this is enough at least to enable the create update. So even though even I have in my behavior definitions I have enabled the create update delete, it's there's no buttons or nothing came here, right? So there is no surprise because we have created so far only the uh, base behavior definition. Okay, but in order to expose this transactional capability to the via the OData service to the UI, so you will need to create a projection behavior definition. So how do you create the projection behavior definition is something you need to create on top of the projection view. So remember, restricted reuse view, on top of that we need to create a base behavior definition, and for projection behavior definition we need to create on top of the projection view, right? So you just use this new, there is an option called new behavior definition. You just click on that one. By default it will give you the implementation type as projection, and there is another thing called interface. That this we are not keeping it for this current project, but this is related to extensibility. But for our scenario, the projection implementation type is what we need to choose it. So I'll just quickly change this. I'll quickly show as projection behavior definition. Okay, and we can as like the behavior based behavior definition, we cannot change the projection behavior definition name. Okay, just click on next. Okay, so here it says it's a projection. Okay, and also the name of the behavior is similar to our projection view. Okay, you can provide alias name for us this projection view. Okay, and here you could see there is a create, update, delete, right? So these are the three operations that we are enabling it to the UI. Okay, let's say if you have additionally like some of the actions or functions something, if you are not exposing in the projection behavior definition, then it will not be shown in the UI. So make sure if you want to expose something, action or anything, you need to keep this syntax called use and the action name or operation name, whatever, then only it will be applicable to the UI. Okay, so I'm just activating this. Okay, so this is done. Maybe I can go back to here, and right now we don't see any create, update, delete operation. I'm reloading it. Okay, you could see there is an option coming up for the delete. Okay, but I'm very much not sure why we are not having the create. Maybe I just go here. Okay, there's a delete operation is enabled. Okay, yeah, I think there is a catch as we are generating OData v4. Okay, as we are using a OData v4 by default, if we have to enable create and update, which what I mean is like, as we are using OData v4 version, okay, so we will need to enable the draft handling in order to expose the create and update functionality. So that's a one 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 point to be remembered when we go with the OData v4. If it is a OData v2, then you don't need to be handled for the draft functionalities. But okay, let me check whether the delete is working fine, or at least like I want to delete a few things. So this is okay. uh, okay, this does not have anything, right? So this customer does not have 00 something, right? So this is what some kind of a some we tested, but there were no updation of the GUI to the back to the database table, right? So this is some inconsistent data, okay, that that caused because of our EML. So I'm just going to delete this. Let's see if it is deleted. Cool, it got deleted. Okay, I'm ready to give it again. So I just quickly go back and check it in the database table. Okay, right now we have this in the first entry. Okay, it's coming up now, right? Okay, so what we do now is let's try to enable the draft. Okay, then we will be able to create, update operations easily. We have seen more how to do it daily. So in order to test the create and update, we have to enable the draft handling, right? Okay, so let us enable the draft to in order to expose, create and update. So I'll just do in the base behavior definition, I will add this statement called with draft. Okay, so once I added this statement, you could see there are few errors coming up into the entity level. So as we enable the strict, it will check we need to add some mandatory things which is related to the draft only. So that's the reason it's showing as error. So I will try to fix it up. Okay, first we need to add the draft table. Okay, so basically draft table will be, so there are two different database tables we are having. One is persistent table, which will be for your core data, and another is a draft table. The draft table basically refers, while we create a draft instance, all the data we input will be stored temporarily here. So when we try to go with create operation or save operation, the save sequence will convert the draft data into the push it to the our original database table. So once there are two things we need to understand. One is active instance. Active instance means it's related to the direct database table. Draft instance means whatever that has been stored in the draft table. Okay, so customer t underscore d, I'm just putting like this. Okay, then if we want to, we have to define this as well. Of course, I'm going to use the quick quiz assistant here, which will help me to create the draft table immediately. So let me try the same. Click on finish. Okay, so this is our draft table, which has our core columns as well. Sorry, core columns. Along with that, they are having some specific admin columns which are related to the draft. Okay, so we don't need to worry about these things. So the draft handling completely will take over by the wrap framework. Okay, let me activate this, and going back to my behavior definition. Okay, so I will do one thing. I'll just close other parts. Let me keep only the behavior definition for now. Okay, so this is done. So this is created already. Okay, so this is already created, right? If I try to do a syntax check, this error should goes out, of course. Yeah, so what it says, with the draft is we need to add the total e tag. Okay, basically after this we need to add the total e tag. Okay, so for the total e tag we need to enable the field for it. Okay, so here I just try to enable, define the times any kind of a unique key which refers the our particular record. Okay, so I'm just keeping the change red for this. Okay, so we can enable the e tag master also. So I can give the same name actually. Yeah, so okay, still we have error, like we need to, there are few actions which is related to the draft, so I'm going to implement also those. So don't worry, like these are not need to be implemented, just we have to define it in our base behavior definition, that is enough. So draft action, there are few actions are there, so you could see these are the actions are there. I'll just put activate, then draft action, uh, activate draft action. Okay, let me put this. Okay, additional save, yes, we can use this draft action. Discord. Okay, draft action, edit, draft action, resume. Okay, so you don't need to implement this, just we need to define only the draft actions for now. Okay, what is the error? It's done, right? Okay, let me actually do the syntax check. Yeah, it looks fine. This is the warning something, but okay, I will leave this as it is. And what is there with the draft restrictor? We need to, prepare is missing. Okay, let me add the prepare action as well. Okay, I think this is determine action, not the draft action. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll activate this. No errors actually. Yeah. So we have enabled the draft functionality for the base behavior definition, but especially like what we need it in the UI level, right? So I'm just going to define the same thing in the projection layer, right? So if you miss this, then your draft will not be applicable there, right? So you tell clearly like use draft here, and so once you have done, like here you need to mention use e tag, then here you have to mention use draft action, or maybe you can specifically add the actions here for something like this. Let me copy all the actions and put it here so quickly. all your actions should be placed here. Okay, so use action, use. Okay, I don't think so action is required. Why does it? Okay, the action, use, 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 use. Let's remove the determined for now. Yeah. Okay, what it says is already defined. Is it? Yeah, I have defined at the top. And anything else does not define on an action. We have added it, but okay, wait. I don't think so. This is record. Let me remove this, and here also I will remove this. Activate both. So you can use this. Activate multiple objects. So it will just show you like what are the objects that is on inactive state. So which help you to add it at a single time. So okay, perfect. It has been added. So let me quickly go back and so right now there is no create option here. Okay, just reloading the app now. Okay, so we have this. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, it came now. So whenever we enable the draft, we having this editing status, which will tell you what are the records you want. You can filter it out based on this editing status. Okay, and if I just click on go, yeah, you have this option. And if I try to create, maybe first try to update it. If I go inside, and these are the existing data. Let's try to edit it. Okay, so I'll just add the customer number name, maybe a customer 2 something here, test at gmail. Okay, then country again, city, okay, Mumbai or something. Cool. So what I do is, okay, if you could see, you draft is getting updated already. I have not clicked on the save. If I just go back and if I just open the draft table, okay, there should be one instance. Okay, that instance what we are currently editing up. So if I just execute and show you quickly, yeah. So these are the data we have updating just now, right? Customer. Okay, customer 2, right? So what I do is I just clicking on the save now. It's just object saved successfully. If I just go back and if I just reload this, it won't be there. So it will be moved to the our main table. So draft here, the draft handling helps you to improve the user experience. So whatever you enter, that will be stored in the temporary table, and once we finalize the data, then it will be updated back to that. So this is our updated data, right? Yeah. So I'm just going back again to the UI. Yeah. So update looks fine. Let me try to create a new one. So when I try to create a new one, you could see the customer ID got generated automatically and showed up, right? And I can add the customer name, customer 3 something. Yeah. So US customer 3 at gmail.com. Okay, so this are all like it's automatically like popping it out, created at everything, right? And still I could able to change this, right? So still I was able to change it here, but we will do something here. So let me create it. So it has been created successfully. I'll just go back to the core table. Yeah, I'll execute this. See, we have a customer 3, right? So all the data came up, right? Okay. So what I have observed, okay, this basically, it's a very simple application for the customer. We try to create a way to maintain the customer details. So right, so in the uh, okay, so, I mean, for the customer app, it's almost done, but we could see there are few improvisation can be done, right? So for example, when I try to create a new entry, right? So I don't need to provide any data, and I know I can have some empty records here, right? So this can be also improved. And also if I try to in the edit mode, last time we have seen like create by all the admins fields or read, it's not a read only, right? Even user can provide some random data here. Okay, so as a developer we need to take over these points. And for example, country, so country there is a I can give some random input here, so which something we need to uh, provide the data which is exists in our table, right, at the country table. Okay, so also like also few as a user perspective, we need to provide some text for the country, right? For example, if I just go back, why does it's taking so long? Okay, fine. If I just go back, okay, I can see this. I can mention IN US, but I don't see any text for this, right? It's just a short country code we have defined it. Okay, so these are the few points can be improved. And also like if I want some filter based on the country, right? If for India, I just want to list of the customer. For country Europe, I just want to see the list of the customers. So I just need some few filters here, right? And so these are the improvisation I could see. So I don't want to let it simply like this. So let's try to add these points whatever we have discussed, right? So first thing I just want you know make the some of the fields is mandatory. For example, the custom name should be a mandatory, and country is also mandatory, and email is also mandatory. Okay, city we don't need to keep this as a mandatory. Okay, so I'll go back to my behavior definition. In order to make this mandatory, what I can simply do is I can enable the um, okay, yeah, so I can enable the particular field as mandatory. For example, so I'll check from the suggestion. Yeah. There is something called mandatory create. So here I can provide, okay, my customer name should be mandatory, and customer country should be mandatory, and email should be mandatory. Okay, additionally, like I can keep some fields are read only, right? So read only, what are the fields? Basically our admin fields, right? So at created by, last changed by, then changed at. Okay, cool. I think this two things is enough to have the whatever we are looking for. Mandatory create will will doesn't allow you to have empty value to this field, and read only will set will not be editable by the user. Okay, so let's go back to this UI and reload this. Okay, I'm just clicking on this code. Fine, let's try to create a new thing. Okay, as soon as I enable the mandatory create, it doesn't allow me, it's just giving some kind of a pop-up, right? This is the beauty of what is the V4 version. You won't see this in V2. Okay, it will be like a normal second page screen. Okay, so I'll just enter something, let's say like customer one was missing, so I'm just adding this, and country I'm just giving an and email ID customer one at gmail.com. So let's try to create it. Yep. So let's say if I just give it that, and if I just don't add it here, let's see whether it is creating it or not. It's still creating it. Okay. So whatever we have enabled, that doesn't work as expected. Okay, let's try to try to update it. So I'm just removing the customer name here and try to save this. See, so we enabled. Okay, so what is specifically for this? Basically, the mandatory create will make this as a record field in the UI, but it does framework doesn't check whether this is initial or not initial at the runtime. So so we cannot rely on this kind of a validation side. So what I would suggest, we'll add a new validation specifically for this three columns. Okay, then where we check it, whether the particular input has been column value has been passed down. Okay, so for these reasons I'm just adding a new validation port here. So validation create on save, then so when the validation should be create while create. Okay, then what are the fields we need to validate? Customer name, so country, email, right? So that's it. So we define the validations. Let me activate this. Okay, so in order to do the implementation, what I have to do is I just do the right click and do a quick fix. So it will help me to implement the method definitions and all those stuff. Just it gives me only the placeholder where I can use the add my logic. Okay, so for example, here we were having the instant authorization method earlier, right? So additionally, it was the validation create, I mean, has been added. Okay, and what I do is, okay, so here first of all, like for creating, for just doing the validations, what are the things I record? I need a country name, I just need a country email, and sorry for what are the fields I needed? Customer name and customer email and customer country informations, right? So how do I get this? Okay, so if I check what are the importing parameters here, because the app should gives me what is the particular instance and what is the corresponding values, then only I would able to get the values and validate it, right? So it gives me importing parameters only the key fields. So when it is a key fields, okay, the key fields is the whatever we are trying to create a new instance. So our key fields will be this one always, right? So using this key fields, we need to we need to get this the fields or columns whatever we require, and then only we would able to validate it, right? So in order to do this, okay, consider this everything will be stored in the transactional buffer. Okay, whatever we enter and everything will be stored in the transaction buffer. So what we need to do is we write a read YAML for this, read entities of uh, zero underscore customer data, then entity. What is the entity we want? There is only one entity, customer entity for now. So what are the fields we are going to read? Why? Okay, this is too slow. So what are the fields we are going to read it? So customer name and customer country and email. Okay, so okay, I think comma is not required. Okay, so we need to refer the keys, right? So we need to pass the keys. How do you pass the keys? We use the corresponding, okay, here as a keys, because these keys contain the value. For example, if I just show you shortly, like keys is a table, internal table, and if I check the first entry of it, so we are having this, the remove, you don't need to consider this top 4 fields, but just use the customer UIDs here, and if you check the T keyword, transaction key, which means, so here also you are having, customer UID, because for draft instances we always look this TKY instead of this one. So make sure if you are in the draft instance, always refer the percentage TKY, okay, if you want to read specific things. But as we are using the corresponding, okay, so the corresponding itself will be taken care of this in this case. Okay, so with corresponding keys, and I'm just taking the output in this result data. So if in case like some errors or something, we can put it here. Okay, so failed data, failed. Perfect. So first I will just handle the negative case. So let's say if something got failed, alright, okay, in case, so in the reported you will have the customer entity. I don't know why it is not loading, but let me enter it. If this is initial, or maybe if this is not initial, or failed customer itab is not initial, which means there could be some error. Okay, that's why this reported and failed will get failed in this case. So here I'm just simply returning the error messages. How can I simply return the error messages? Basically, okay, I think there was some error actually. So the reported, I will define this as ls underscore report, because by default we are having a reported parameters actually with this validation. So I'm just changing the name, so it goes out, and there is a warning. This is due to I'm not including the local mode. Local mode is something like will be improving the performance. For example, like if some authorization method is getting authorization, if you have defined for your behaviors, so it will not every time this authorization checks will not be done. Okay, so if it is one time it is checked, so for the next time it will not checks it, it will take from the buffer data whether it is already checked or not. Okay, so it will quietly improve the performance. Okay, so that's why we have to add in local mode within the behavior implementation. Make sure it is has to be used within the behavior implementation, not outside of it. So it's advisable to add that. Okay, then let me, so okay, if we have some error, let's say like if we have some failed things in the validation of, if we want to raise error message, we need to return back this reported and failed information. This reported and failed information will be checked by the framework, and if some errors are there, it will be returned back to the UI automatically. So this just we need to add this validation alone. So remaining everything will be taken care by the framework. That's the beauty of the wrap. So reported, I just use, maybe I just use corresponding here, and I'll use the deep ls underscore reported. Maybe I'll have to change this one. Okay, and likewise failed corresponding. So deep is it's basically if it has some deep structure. Okay, then it will be automatically taken over. Okay, it looks fine. So these are the first error case. First we are reading the data, and if we get some error, we are just handing the error and returning it back directly. Otherwise, for the positive case, if it reads successful, you will get the data here, right? So keys could be like single instance or can be multiple instance. Okay, in this case, it will be an internal table. So we are just going to loop at the result, ls underscore result for him, and loop. Perfect. why it is showing an error. Okay, again I need to put, already the result is there, so I just need to add the ls underscore set. Okay, yeah, so let me put different way. So just to format this, excuse me. Okay, all looks good. So I just got the data, so this will gives me all the instances. For example, if I'm trying to, if I'm trying to create a single instance, I would return back the single instance key field here. Okay, then using this key field of the single instance, I just try to read the name, customer name, customer country, customer email from the buffer, transactional buffer. Once if I don't get it, and if something got failed, I'm just returning it back to this reported and failed with this validate create validation method. Then if something if that is everything is fine, I would get the result back here in this ls underscore result. I'm just checking if ls underscore result. So here okay, sorry, I'm just got this. Let's change this a little bit. lt underscore result, so it will be easy to identify this is a internal table. So row, okay. So here you would have all the columns, right? So let me try to get the name. Okay, if name is initial, then I'm going to rise error, or else if what else, country, right? Country is initial, I'm just going to rise error. And if result row email, right? Email is initial, I'm just going to rise error. Perfect, right? Yeah. So let me format this. Okay, it got activated back. So we are finding whether its value has been paused or not, right? And then we need to tell somehow to the UI that value is empty, right? Otherwise user wouldn't know, correct? So so in order to rise the error back, so what we can try is we have to fill the reported and failed, right? How we have done it for this case, right? The same thing we need to do it for here. So first you need to add the failed the key field, because everything is handling by the key field. Okay, so for this table, it's an internal table actually, value. Then I'll just put something like this, base customer. Why base? Because we are doing the loop, and the results will not get overridden. So in order to stop those the overridden functionality, so I'm just using this base. It will append to the next line, okay, instead of writing in the same row. Okay, so here I just going to add the transaction key. So make sure you always use this transaction key, right? Just use this result underscore row percentage tky. So basically we are referring the key field. Okay, how do you are referring the key field? This is the row, this is the instance. It's going to be an error, as we know. So we are just populating the particular instance in the failed customer table. Okay, if you do this, then the framework understood that okay, there is some issue with this particular instance, so it will try to raise a error message for the particular instance. Okay, so I'll just do the same thing for reported. The reported is basically helpful for raising the customer error messages. So I'll do the same thing for reported as well, customer. Okay, so I copy this and I put it here. So here I check it. So there is a parameter called percentage message. If you see here, right? So this percentage message, using this you can pass the custom messages to the UI. Okay. So how do you raise it? That is a by default. We have a method. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I think we will be having default method. 1 second. Yeah, so the new message with text, there are two things. If you have, if you know the if you have stored already in the message IDs all these things information, so you can directly pass over this one. As I don't have any message IDs created, so I'm just directly going to provide it here. So I just need to pass the text. Okay, saying that, like, so name is missing. Okay, that's it. So this is how we can add the custom validation. Okay, so let me just put it this way. Fine, yeah, I'll activate this. Cool. So what I go is, well, let us quickly check whether the validation is working fine or not. So I'm just reloading the current instance that was created earlier. Okay, yeah, we got it. Let me try to edit it. So let me try to save it first. Okay, wait a second. I think it should be triggered or create. I'll just click on this one. Let me try to create. Continue. Okay, enter a value for the customer. By default it's giving. Let's say I'll add something here. I'll continue here. So last time when we remove this, okay, fair enough, right? So we are getting our custom validations and the name is missing, correct? So but okay, we can do one more thing. We can just do the same thing for country and email ID. Quickly we can copy this. So let me just discard this one now. I'll going back to this validation, copy this validation. Okay, okay, perfect. And it's going to be the same instance, so there is nothing need to be changed. So just only we need to update the just mentioning country is missing here, and just mentioning here email is missing. Okay, let's activate it. Cool. Just going back again, just reloading this. Okay, clicking on go. Fine, let's try to create a new instance. Just some random input. Continue. Okay, even it's giving a suggested message, right? As country is only the having the character of 3, so it's suggesting to enter the maximum of 3, right? So let me enter only 3 values. Sorry, I just clicked on cancel. Okay, I'll close this. Yeah, and I try to create this. Okay, so it's something, it's giving us email is missing, country is missing, name is missing, right? Look, our validations is working fine. So I just want to add one more validation. Look, and also like you can see this created by law change by created relatives. Everything is a read only, right? This we don't need to do anything. It's directly working by defining the behavior definition read only. Okay, just to highlight this. Yeah. So what else I want to try is, okay, let me just put an input here, customer 4 and IN and email ID is my random email ID. Okay, let's try to create it. Yeah. Okay. So what was other things planned, right? So the other thing is a country. So right now the country is something, it doesn't have any value help. Okay. So I just want to add some value help, so it will be helpful for user to select the country easily from the drop down, or maybe from the pop-up window, right? So I'll just, okay, I'll go back here. Let me remove this, delete this for now. Okay, so let's see how to implement this. Okay, so for example, this is belongs to the, the value help is totally, it doesn't have any transaction capability, right? So we cannot do anything from the behavior side. So whatever which is belongs to the transaction capability, we can uh, you know uh, we can define it to the behavior definition or behavior implementation. But these things like value helps, adding the new columns, everything will belongs to the reading purpose, right? So these are the things we need to add it to the CDS view level. Okay, so just try to separate these two logics. Whatever we need to, for basically simply saying like, if you want to change something for displaying purpose, or uh, uh, just for the user experience, right? If you want to enable a new field, or if you want to add the value help, so these are the displaying purpose, right? If you want to modify the data, then you need to choose the behavior definition part. So just to differentiate these two. Okay, because I'm going to create a value help for this country column, so it's purely a read only. So I'm just going back to this our CDS view, right? So where is our CDS views? Yeah. Okay, so this is our restricted series, restricted customer data view. Okay, and we have a country here. I just want to add a new value help, but let me just look into, instead of creating a new value help, okay, I can take it from the country CDS view itself, right? So I will, let's just look into this, any value help CDS view or present. You can check, underscore value help or a star value help at the end of the CDS view, or you can search by entering name, for example, country. I mean, these are the standard things, like which could be definitely there. Just checking in this system, we got something suggestion, right? How come it's okay? Let me put the star here. Uh, okay, these are the, that looks like country, and but I don't know why they calling this as a. Let me check this first of all. What is this? Okay, it's selecting from I underscore country and temp. Okay, this is says is a value help country. We can use this. I hope we have a country. Let's try to execute and check. Okay, no authorization to display. Fine. Yeah. Let me take for this I underscore value help. Okay, I underscore country value help. Okay, so here I have few things. Maybe I can execute and see the data whether which I want like this. So my value help should be with this country description and three letter ISO code and 3-digit ISO code. Okay, I don't know whether it is showed in the data. It's UI.hidden might be, description is not shown. Okay, yes, it's not field letter. Okay, fine. Maybe I will do one thing, like on top of this, maybe let's try to create a new value help. Okay, for consumption view, as I mentioned, we can expose only the consumption view. Okay, let's try to do this. Okay, so let's try to use this country value help. Okay, and so I would like to use custom value help. I could try to use the same value help, that is not a problem, but on top of this I would like to create a consumption value help from this. So how do I do it? Like I'll just create a new data definition. So maybe c underscore country, country value help, just put something like order. Okay, z order. Okay, something like this. So country value help. So I'll put I underscore country value help. I just refer the the existing standard CDS view. So the value help CDS view is not a different thing. It's similar to how we do it for normal CDS view. Click on next. I'll just click the define view entity and click on finish. Okay, so I just don't want this association and all those stuff. I just want only these two things, country and its description. So I'll just do the format. Maybe I can just add, this is going to be a value help. So there is something called annotation usage type, I guess, right? Not usage type, data category. Okay, object models or data category. Here we can tell this is a value help. This is view is a value help. Okay, and here it says like search help. Okay, not a problem. So I'll just do the I'm activating this. It's quickly tested once it get activated. So run as ABAP application. Okay, yeah, this is what we are looking for. What we can do is just we need to add this value help definition in our metadata extension file. Where is our metadata extension file? It's here. So just we need to map with our country column, because our country column should have the value help, this dialog pop-up where we need to select from the by the user, select by the user, right? So I'll just go back to my metadata extension file, and there is a country column here. So here I can add annotation. At consumption dot value help definition. I'm just looking for this annotation. Value help definition. Yeah, this guy. So here I just need to add it, right? So what I can do is first I need to define the entity structure. Okay, in the entity structure I have to define two things. One is name of the CDS view. Okay, so what is the name of the CDS view? It's value from CDS view is this one, my custom CDS view. Then which element, right? So we need to tell the CDS view what element you have to match in the new value of CDS view, right? So it's going to be the country. So this one, it's belong to this key field country. Okay, so that's it. I think let me activate this. Okay, it's activated. I'm just going back to the UI. Trying to create a new one. Okay, you could see there is there is a small icon is coming up here, right? So if I just click on this, it will just open the value help for you. I don't know why it is not working. Yeah, it's working actually. It's taking some time. So here I can choose only these countries, right? So for example, if I want to choose let's say India, okay, so I can able to choose India from here and type customer 4 or 5 something, email ID, some random thing, continue. Okay, and try to save this. Even if you want to change it later, you can just edit it here, and you can if you can edit that later as well. So that's not a big deal, right? So this is the beautiful dialog which is driven by the the our annotations, and everything will be taken over here. It's a UI pop-up, everything will be taken over by the Fiori elements. Okay, fine. Let's add one more thing related to this country only. I'll go back. So here I want to filter the customer based on the country. Okay, then I need to add a filter here. Okay, so how do I add it? If I just go back here in the same metadata file extension, I just simply add the selection field annotation. Okay, why is it taking so long? The server is too slow. Okay, I'm not sure what is an issue. Let me close this and I'll try to reopen it. Okay, I think there is some technical issues. Let me restart it. Okay, so luckily it worked after restarting. So I'll just use the selection field and I need to define my position. See, everything position is it's like works for all the thing how we define it, right? Where do you want to place the particular field or column, right? So I just define this as a 10. Okay, I'll simply activate it. So it's done. I'm just going back here. Right now there are no filters. So let me reload this. So you got this country, and if I just click on go. So let me try to check the value help. See, when as we attach the value help already, even the filter is taking the referring the same value help, right? So if I just let's say if I just want to just search for US and try to filter only the US and clicking on go, and you could see it's just filtering only the US country. And moreover, this searching and filtering option, we haven't implemented anything. So that's the beauty of CDS framework, which under the hood everything will be automatically handled, right? Filtering, all the reading the data from the CDS, and of course for the wrap it is handling the transactional capabilities. But it's really we as a developer, I don't need to do any write any much logics. All the technical things will be hand over to the frameworks, right? Either like CDS or wrap here. Okay. So yeah, it looks good. And what is the one thing I just want to add it, right? It looks fine, but there are a couple of things I would like to add it. So for example, this is a validation for the everything looks good, but the validation is something the email ID we need to put it, right? So this is entering some random data, but it doesn't look like a email ID, right? So we just need to want those validations as well. So it will be good, customer cannot enter something randomly, right? So for that, I just want to, um, take some example. Okay, validate email. Yeah. So I have referred it already. So we are going to use some regex for this. So it's something like this. So I'm just going to use the same thing, just copying this. Okay. So so when we want to add some validations, definitely we need to go to the behavior definition. So in this behavior definition, there are two things. Okay, either you can sorry, I just need to. So either you can define an additional validation specifically for the email ID, or you can, already we are validating the email, right? So the same method we can utilize this as well. So for simplicity, I'm just going with, same method. I don't want to add additional validations here, as we are checking already the email is present or not, right? So I can simply enhance the functionality for, validation check. Let's say if it is already present, okay, then I'm checking whether its value is correct. I mean the email ID, whatever the user entered, it's correct or not. Okay. So I'm just creating a regex. Okay. Yeah, of course I just need to copy the Regex and matcher here. Maybe I'll just copy this completely. Okay, it looks fine. And I just go here. Okay, it is defined what it says. Okay, that's okay, right? So this is exporting ABAP true. I'm creating an object for this class. Then I'm just getting the matcher instance with the email. So here we need to feed the email, right? What is our email here? Result underscore row hyphen email, right? So this input we need to provide it. So if it is valid, okay, then okay, if it is match is initial, what they are checking, if the matcher dot you know uh, arrow mark match method they are calling, if it returns is initial, then we are just considering this is a invalid. Then in this case we have to raise the error message. Okay, right? So I'll just put it simply like this. So for error message, it's a similar thing. We are going to use it. Like for example, the same thing, same error message format. We are going to use it. Okay. Right. And so here I just email is not valid. Right. So let me format this. Activate. Okay. Going back to this Fiori app. So let me create a new, so customer name, I just something randomly enter. So this US, so let me add this continue. Okay, so it has been accepted to the Navic second page. Okay, let's try to create it now. Let's see whether it works or not. Yeah, so it says like email is not valid, but it tried to check whether it doesn't look like a valid email. So let me try add something like gmail.com here, and if I try to create it, yeah, it's accepted. So this is how we can validate the things of whatever we like. Okay, uh, I think it's pretty much the customer app looks fine to me. I don't see any further improvements. Still all the credit operation is working, and we have done some of the improvements, right? So yeah, I think we can keep this as it is, customer app, and try to uh, create the order order related business object, right? Order header and order items we need to uh, create it, right, from order application directly. Okay, so one thing before we close this, because if you see this, we don't see any heading things, right? So as a as a user, if I see this, I don't see what is the application at all, right? So at least we need to add some kind of a heading detail. So I'll add that quickly, and we can close this uh, customer app. Okay, so for adding the heading, again, it's a UI related stuff. I need to go to the metadata file, metadata extension file. So here you just add it on top of the annotate entity. Okay, so here just add this UI. Okay, so there is a thing called header info. 1 second. Yeah, so in this header info we have another structure. So let me put the structure here as well. So there are two things. One is type name. Okay, so the type name is something, it's for referring a singular object. For example, in our case it's a single customer, right? So I'm just using the customer here. Okay, there is another attribute called type name plural. Okay, so which refers the multiple objects, right? So here I can define as a customers. Okay, right? And what else is there? Let us check. Okay, comma, we need to put it out. What else we can add it? Description. If we want to add some image also, we can add the customer image details. So I'm not doing it right now. I would like you to explore it. Okay, I think it, okay, title dot value, it's something we can put it for now. Okay, so it's, you can value actually, you can just put any of the column as a title value. For example, once the customer name is given, okay, I just want to give the customer name at the top of the second page. For example, if I just go back here, right, if you go inside, okay, so here you are getting as a UID, right? So it's not a good idea to keep the UID on the top of the page. Okay, so I would like to change this as well along this. Okay, so I quickly format this. Where is the format? Yeah, activating it. Okay, so I'm going back and just reloading this. Right now there is no no reference what kind of application is this. So let me see. Yeah. So you got a here as a customers, right? So we can identify, okay, this is a customer app at least, right? So just if you click on go, you could see the dynamically it gives you the number of items, number of records it contains. So there are five customers are there, so that's it's giving us a five. It gives us a, automatically by the annotations, right, that we have added. And one more thing what I wanted to show is the topic, right? So here the customer name should be provided. Okay, so here the customer 2 is was coming as a name here. So let me go to customer 3. Yeah, so here the customer 3 is coming up. So yeah, pretty much this is what I wanted to show up. So just try this application from your end. It will really it will really help you to understand at least the basic things. Okay, I'm not covering up any um, advanced concepts here. At least in this customer app we will see some little bit advanced topic or advanced complex functionality. I wouldn't say advanced things. When I say advanced, it's a functionality wise we have little complex there. So you will able to so I would request first try to finish this and try to understand whatever I have explained. If you fail to understand something, just drop me a comment. I will look into it. I will try to help you out. Okay.